I think you can't pick it into just any draft. I think it's in the right draft, it's like a 7 or an 8, where you've got good AoE damage, some good early laning potential, and something that
10
you
seconds to
need
pick.
a BKB disabling stun for. And that's what you get with a chaotic offering. So
5
I think
seconds
it's going to be
remain.
alright. Again, it's one of those heroes that just allows you to group up Death Ball and continue pushing forward as well, which, again, I feel like the TB is still a pretty decent pick here. Yes, you could now use the enchant on the Enchantress to be able to take away one of those TB illusions, but you don't deal well with split push right now on Maiden Philippines. So either the TB or the Beastmaster would be the way that I'm going. Even the Beast, right, into the Enchantress, you could just go the Axes, so it's not even the worst matchup anymore.
It looks like we're gonna go for the Viper instead. I did look that Bok hasn't played Beastmaster a single game this season, but he has got a 1 Viper game under his belt, and that was against Army Geniuses in game number 1. So, what's your
the
take?
Bok Viper? The Bok Viper is the thing that nearly got them to TI-10. Like, they were picking that on TNC very, very frequently, and essentially they were building him like this. I call it a turret, right? Like, you just go Dragonlance BKB and you stand there and you just right-click without too much fear of dying. You've already got a Warlock for a little bit more of that sustain with the Shadow Word. Of course, the AoE damage, not so great for the Viper, but you do have a lot of control coming through with the Monkey, the Puck, and even the Warlock with the Upheaval. So I think that's the way that they're wanting to build this. Of course, just having the break against an Enchantress is kind of nice, lets you pick off a hero a little bit quicker, but I don't know, like, at the moment, they don't have any big tower takers in my eyes, right? Like, Viper eventually could do it, but Puck isn't renowned to being one that does it. Monkey, I guess, can a little bit, but Monkey King tends to be a little bit more of that active style of position 1, right? Where you want to rely on a pos 2 that potentially has the capability of fulfilling that role, like a DK or a TA or something along those lines.
Yeah, you do need that tower hitter. I agree with that, especially when you look at, well, TB is banned by TNC. The Pudge got banned by Maiden Philippines. I know that he's got 4 games of Pudge under his belt. What about Mrs. Snake Lady, Medusa?
Mrs. Snake Lady will be alright. Again, against the Pangolier, it's pretty solid, right? It's one of those heroes that, again, once you have the BKB, you just stand there, pop the Stone Gaze, and right-click. And Pango suddenly has to turn around and, get the hell out of there. So I really wouldn't hate to see it come through. I'm kind of surprised that it's gone all this way without being banned out, because for both of these teams, to be honest, it's really high priority coming through. So I wonder if Maiden Philippines, like, I would say, honestly, Ken, it's one of his best heroes as well.
10
so
seconds to pick.
we'll see what happens.
Ken has also only played 4 heroes during the course of this entire DPC tour. TA, TB, Morphling, and Juggernaut. So that basically just leaves us with the Morphling and the Jug left in the pool. Is he going to bring out something new today?
I think this is the game to bring the Deucer. Again, like, the damage that you've got coming through isn't fast. It's not something that once you have BKB, you're able to deal with right now. Like, honestly, where is the damage if a Deucer buys BKB? Puck does nothing. Viper does basically nothing. Monkey King, if it's a 1, I guess, could do a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I think it would be a great Deucer pick, and Maiden Philippines have this pick coming into the last phase. I don't think you want to pick an anti-mage either if you're TNC to try and counter it out.
Yeah, I don't think that the anti-mage is going to be a good answer, especially if this Pango decides to go for something like the Fusel Blade. But hey, there's the Dusa. Won't go through the draft, so we're going to have to scratch it all and start something anew. Now I kind of feel like one of those heroes is not going to get picked that Ken prefers, so he's going to go for the Weaver instead. This does look like a carry Weaver to me, at least, and a pretty decent pick in itself. It's great at sniping the backline. Even the Warlock, who seems to be able to tanky support, I kind of like this Weaver pick.
Only 10 seconds.
It's okay. Again, like, it's all going to be around the Dream Coil, right? So if you could start a team fight with killing the Puck, Maiden Philippines win the fight, hands down, right? Because you have no way of locking down the Weaver outside of that. And that's why I was really wanting them to get some sort of vision on TNC to prevent that sort of situation from happening. Also, Enchantress Weaver, it's a reasonably strong lane, right? Viper isn't going to be able to just sit there and farm. And it's not like Monkey King is the greatest at being able to prevent that sort of thing from happening either. So I really think Maiden Philippines could look to go a little bit aggressive. Honestly, maybe even starting the game in a tri-lane just to secure that first blood for themselves.
I like the spicy idea there of going the tri-lane. There's actually been quite a lot of these aggro tri-lane setups lately, but usually they've been around heroes like Marcy, Bane, maybe even Snapfire in some cases. And I think that's a great hero against against some of the tri-lane setups as well. So we're going to go for the Bristleback to finish things off for TNC.
Okay. Amazing. They don't have any of those things that force him to be able to turn and face you, but, I mean, with this Weaver, you could even potentially afford to... I guess you've got the Pangolier as well, right? We saw what happened. This is a throwback to TI9 Grand Finals. Diffusal Gyrocopter, right? Pangolier, not the worst diffusal builder. And then suddenly, if Yoei doesn't have mana, how is he going to continue to the QW spam just to continue running at you? I think it's not bad. It's that hero that doesn't really care, again, about the Enchantress. You should be able to run a Rubik down fairly easily. And there's the tower push. But I really do feel like Made in Philippines have the answer to it in a lot of ways.
They've got some good approaches to it, for sure. But is there any way or any reason you would see the early game impact so roughly that the other team can't bounce back? Because we're looking at Viper is usually win lane, lose game in various cases. Can still be that, like you said, the turret that will be very annoying to deal with, but still a killable hero if you just have the courage to do it. And I think that's a really important remark for a lot of teams to worry that they just need to get rid of that Viper if they're able to get a lot of heroes to stack on top, because a lot of people will fear this hero in many cases, and that's kind of a downfall from the laning stage.
Yeah, I think this might be a case of actually lose lane, lose game for the Viper, because again, Enchantress, Weaver, very, very strong. Like, you're just wanting to be abusing, like, level 1, your timings aren't honestly that bad. You can see the Enchantress already having the Blightstone available on herself. It's very clear that they want to be going for kills. Viper, not the greatest armor to be able to start out, only 2. And, I mean, honestly, even just going the Magic Wand, yeah, it's a good amount of stats, but 0 regen on the Viper right now. So if they look to get aggressive from the very beginning, I feel like they could very easily look to pick up this first blood for themselves.
Pretty interesting start there, going straight for the Magic Wand and then the 3 branches on top. Obviously, the branch is good for the stats, and maybe if somebody's giving you tangos, you can use them to get the double regen out for yourself. But straight up Magic Wand. I mean, I like the stick start for several heroes, but I think this is just one of those games where it's viable to just go straight for the Magic Wand.
30 seconds until digital.
I wonder if it's going to be like, are they going to try and, like, aggro try lane as well? Like, look to try and at least secure Bok that level 3, because then I feel like the lane becomes so much more survivable for the Viper, but until that point, I really think he's going to have a rough time. Honestly, even, like, Enchantress isn't constantly using spells. Weaver kind of is with the Shikuchi, but it's honestly not the easiest.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Made in Philippines as my preference here.
I'm at a bit of a crossroads here, because I feel TNC, but then I look at all these heroes on the Made in Philippines side, and I'm really liking the individual skill, but how does it come together as a team is really the big question. Like, how do they capitalize? What's the window of opportunity or the timing that they're going to be looking for with this lineup? Because TNC hits these timers simultaneously as Made in Philippines does. And this Tiny kind of needs to snowball, but then Puck's also a hero that snowballs. So these are very 50-50-ish type of drafts on both ends.
I legit think Made in Philippines could win 3 lanes. Like, it's that heavy of a draft advantage in my eyes from the very beginning. And then also just on that point that I keep talking about, Tiny can kill the Puck. I mean, you've also got the instant lockdown coming through from the Rubik as well, right? With the telekinesis, once he gets an Aether Lens, for example, very easy to be able to pick that one up. Tihi right now, he's just kind of brawling together with Carlo. I'm not sure if that's the best decision. He needs to be preventing Bok from just standing in this lane and getting a lot of this free farm and experience. You've got the Blightstone for a reason. Use it.
Yeah, would love to keep that poke up at least. With the Magic Wand on the Viper, technically every 6 spells is worth a tango. So I guess if you get a lot of spells being spammed in this lane, that will help him out. But they're not really getting to use them too much here, at least. Ken and Tihi having to contest with this pulled camp. Carlo able to snatch it in between, so Bok will get the lane in front of the tier 1 tower. Viper has a bit of an advantage.
That's a huge win. Yeah, he should not be getting this. Like, he's just, like, kiting the creep wave back and forth, back and forth. He wants the creep wave to be sitting right underneath his tower, so he's so much safer. I was mentioning before he's only got the 2 armor, right? But in a worst case scenario, he just walks back like he is right now underneath the tower aura, and he gets that extra 3 armor, so you can't even dive and harass him as easily anymore.
Yeah, no poke on the Viper at least, so pretty happy with that. The top lane we haven't really touched upon at all. We've got the Pango going for an Orb of Corrosion right away. Bristleback just wanting to max out that physical damage reduction, basically going for the Vanguard as soon as possible. Do you think this is another Vanguard Aghanims game?
Do they need the Vanguard this game? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the damage is already starting to stack up onto Lucifer as well. Of course, with the Fatal Bonds, it's kind of like the Terrorblade with the Reflection, right? It's just that AoE damage that you're guaranteed to get out, and it's not just on them, it's also on the creep wave, right? So the damage just ramps up even quicker.
Yeah, it's very annoying to play against. Fatal Bonds is such an annoying spell as well when it comes to breaking Blink Daggers. You might have disengaged from the fight, but an ally is taking damage somewhere, so you're still taking more, and you might actually die to it. There's a lot of viability for the Warlock in these small skirmishes of like 2v2s or maybe even 3v3s. And in a big team fight, obviously you never want to clump up to get the maximum out of that, because that's going to hurt a lot with all the burst and the nuke damage that TNC has.
I didn't see. I would assume that he tried to get a D-ward off onto his small camp as well as block up the enemy hard camp, but didn't happen. It was Carlo that ended up winning that D-ward battle, so small camp is still blocked. They got another pull, so Bok is just continuing to farm underneath his tower. This is a horrible situation for TNC, although this is what I felt they should have been doing from the beginning.
Yeah, but now they're going for the poke here. They've got the slow on the Enchantress. Heal comes out, but also the Crypt Swarm connecting onto Bok. Ken looking for the Shikuchi connection onto 2. Bit of early poke. And actually, the first time they really put their advantage onto the Viper as he was alone for a second, and did drop him pretty low. Just not enough for a kill again. And still that lane continues to be in front of the tier 1 tower. This is... I don't think this lane should be going in any way like this for Made in Philippines.
Absolutely not. I mean, and Carlo is just doing the right thing, right? He's making sure not to leech any of that valuable experience away from the Viper. He realizes how important it is that Bok gets up to those odd level power spikes, right? Level 3, level 5 means harassing is so much easier, and Carlo's spending his time not just standing around, he's making sure to secure water runes, he's stacking camps for his Bristleback. So yeah, Carlo's doing a really good job here.
No kills for the first 4.5 minutes. We do have our mid laners getting closer to level 6 by the minute. Tiny would love to rotate if possible, but you don't want to get a missed rotation. And with that Viper in front of the tier 1 tower, it's like, nuh-uh, I don't think that's a call to go for. Maybe even in the top lane, where they are fighting to take down the Warlock, but Pango, not quite enough damage. And now Yoi, make sure he's poking him with those cool sprays. Warlock gets some free time for himself.
Like taking down a Warlock with, the amount of farm he has. He's level 3, so he's got those 2 points of the Shadow Word. Even just the Bassi Ring, right, makes it a little easier for Yoe. So I'm just seeing they were going on him a little bit here, but Mavis realizes that he's not going to be in too much danger. They do have the Harpy Stormcrafter down on the bottom side, so that might make things a little bit easier for Made in Philippines, although Bok, he's putting a lot of his attention to making sure to take out that creep.
Yep. It's a lot of corroding poison onto that Harpy. Corrode those wings right off.
Low up top.
Yeah, they're at least getting to keep this Bristleback constantly in check. Kind of the problem here, as you already mentioned, good luck fighting against the Warlock. I think that really applies. Like, you usually focus the target who doesn't have the heal on, but the Viper dropping very low here. Bok able to get the TP out just in time before dropping in the lane. Might have overextended just a little bit too much, and Teehee and Ken get the chance to start to look for that first kill, but still nothing. And Carlo's been stacking mid well.
Yeah, again, I feel like Carlo's the real standout on TNC right now. He's a very experienced player. For those that don't know, he used to go by BDZ, and he's just been a really solid addition to this lineup, as the more experienced head. So I really want to see him really come to the front. He's doing a great job for the lane so far to make sure that Viper's able to get this amount of farm that he has already. So yeah, if they're going to win, it's going to be on the back of someone like Carlo making some great plays for that vision aspect.
There's only 3 heroes who are topping the CS at the moment. The Puck, the Bristle, the Tiny, having the best time of their lives. And obviously a lot of denies in that bottom lane. 18 on the Weaver, 13 on the Viper. A lot of missed CS for both. Who do you see coming out stronger out of the laning stage? That's really the big question here, because you said they might be able to win all 3 lanes, but it's a fair almost 50-50, except in the mid lane. Looking for the kill here with the coil, but good luck killing this Tiny. A lot of difficulties here. Boundless Strike onto 2. With the Illusory Orb, some good poke, but JG just refuses to give in.
Yeah, Teehee showing up as well helps, gives him over a tango, uses the Nature's Attendants. It's the thing, right? This Tiny is the counter to the Puck in the super early game. You've got a lot of right-click damage against Puck's low armor. Now that he's building up, of course, the strength gain is really nice as well. 4 strength per level, so you know, Puck's nukes start to drop off in effectiveness. And yeah, you can just see with the Tiny, Magic Wand, Bottle, you're going to be able to get into that Blink Dagger soon enough. I wonder even if JG decides to just save this up, not finish up the full power treads and just go straight Blink. I feel like that's exactly what his team needs.
And now the Pango's going for the Diffusal Blade. So this is basically the point where the Bristleback is going to be running into some issues. Maybe potentially some of the fights as well. Mavis is getting... he's being chased here. Tiny still has the toss available. We'll use it now. 1, 2, and there we go. The Avalanche will finish off the job. That's going to be first blood for Made in Philippines. Chris also forced under the tower. Carlo just a bit too late for the party.
It's actually huge that JG gets that right. I keep talking about it. Tiny getting this Blink Dagger is going to be massively influential for TNC because it just unlocks the game so much for Weaver in particular. One of those heroes that, yeah, you could farm. Yes, you could build up your experience in Gold League reasonably well once you get the Maelstrom. But I feel like, again, if Puck is dead, there is nothing that's stopping a Weaver from just taking over any kind of team fight, especially if Pango also has the Diffusal Blade at around a similar time, which it looks like he's going to be getting.
Oh, Box got some really big stacks here that Carlo's been making for him. But no points in Nether Toxin, unfortunately. Won't be able to clear that just quite yet. Maybe something for the Puck, maybe even for the Bristleback if the Viper doesn't take it.
Gotcha.
I'd say the Bristle for sure. Like, he just wants to make sure that he's getting that Aghanim Scepter as quickly as possible. Yeah, you need the power treads for now, just because it makes your farming a lot more efficient. Spots
Mavis here. Bok has to come to the rescue. Warlock not in huge trouble, though, as he's still safe. But he's going to get jumped on here by Carlo and Chris. And that 3 points heal, and H's attendants are doing a lot of work here. And it doesn't look like it's going to last forever. As that Enchantress has to park on the high ground and start tanking 4 heroes. But at least, hey, it's an Enchantress kill, but you're using 4 heroes for this, so a lot of openings on the map.
Enchantress with 4 heroes, and notably, they also scouted out the fact that these stacks are starting to build up. So I wonder when Bristleback is actually going to make that rotation through to make sure that they aren't stolen away. Not that Made in Philippines have the greatest heroes to be able to steal that one away.
Yeah, and also kind of like even if the Bristleback does decide to go into the jungle to farm those stacks, you don't have a tower pushing hero in your team who's able to take that top tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, if you had that Beastmaster or something similar like an Enigma, you would be able to take this tower while the Bristleback is absent. But as long as he's here, he's guarding it, you can even call in for some backup because they're able to defend that tower pretty easily. Tiny, though, hunting with the smoke and going to be walking into the Warlock here. And they're now going for those stacks right away. Sadly, no spells left on JG, so Chris going to be poking this Tiny. And again, targeting the Enchantress. Ken coming in from the other side. Bok is also here.
The Brawl is about to break out. You've got the Blink Dagger coming on the Tiny right now. So let's see if TNC are able to take this stack before that's a factor.
They can do here. Avalanche. Oh, that's a bit of money going in their way, yeah. Decent amount of money from Made in Philippines out of that stack. All the hard work for nothing.
Yoe at least is going to be able to secure the ancient stack, but again, like, this is Blink Dagger achieved. I feel like he's deliberately keeping it hidden here on the Tiny. Look at that. He didn't actually deliver it straight away on the Courier, waiting until he was in the cover of somewhere that was much less likely to be warded. And now they want to get a hero that might be just lagging up here. Luckily for them, though, Carlo's in position to potentially catch things out. It's a death, right? He unfortunately just went down off the trees at an inopportune time. If he stayed up there, he would have scouted that out and had that Blink Dagger reveal. So just a little bit of bad luck, but it happens.
Yeah, unlucky. Good old unlucky play right there. And Pito, if he can't take the tower, the catapult will help him out for it. So the tier 1 is now gone from the top lane. will open up the map a bit more for Maiden Philippines. They're looking to maybe put their advantage towards the mid lane. Korea's already scouting out as Yoe is already farming aggressively here in the lane. But Teehee, look at those skeletons and look at them doing work at that tier 2 tower.
Yep, this is exactly what I was about to highlight. Teehee. Yep, glyphing for a level 5, position 5 Enchantress at 12 minutes is not what you want to be doing. Again, Maiden Philippines, their lineup is about to just really come online. They've already got the Blink Dagger, Diffusal Blades coming out on Rapido as well. So how are you even going to fight into this?
Oh, this is Spain without the S. That's a glyph cooldown for another 5 minutes, and Rapido, he spots some hostiles in the areas, buying time for the Enchantress to disengage. So that's a very very White Knight move here from Rapido, but it's a good one.
Really, it feels like they're just buying time for the Weaver. They need a little bit more damage. They just
Did you actually see? I actually didn't catch that on the camera instantly, but I jumped back to the tier 2 tower, and as the Enchantress and the Pango were disengaging, pulling them in, they sent in another setter with all those skeletons, and now the tower's down to 500 HP.
Yep, that's just an Enchantress for you. Just being as annoying as possible.
Smoke up towards the top lane.
I mean, they'll want to stop this push, so they're thinking that someone's going to be up here. That's why JG, of course, with his Blink Dagger, is on the prowl. Anyone that they find is good, right? Because that's... anyone that D-pushes is what they want to find, because that's just going to open up the tower. You don't have the greatest Roche-taking potential. I suppose with the Lucky Shot and the Swarm, you can take it. But more importantly, you just want to try and take it away from TNC. The Viscous Nasal Goo, of course, allows a Bristleback to be able to secure that one nice and easily.
He's lined up the BKB and the Aghanims. The classic Bristleback build of today. They are defending this top tower as well. Bok is the one to TP in this time. But Carlo dropping down the Wukongs to be able to take down Rapido and a stolen coil on the Rubik. But what can he do with it? JG can't pop the coil, but he's got the nuke damage. Able to take down the Puck, and that's a big win for them because now it's just 2 supports in the mid lane. Ken throws in the Crypt Swarm. That's going to be easily cleared out. And here comes Bok. Throws in the Viper Strike onto Teehee, but he is healing himself on the sidelines, and now the Viper is in trouble as well. Boundless Strike does connect as well to JG. They will be taken down. Ken the Weaver is down, and the Tiny's about to lose his life as well, as Yoe comes in just in time, and he snaps the dominating spree away from the Tiny. So the Bristleback scores a victory out of this. A 2-for-2 trade. They did lose the Puck and the Viper, but they did take the Weaver and the Tiny.
If you have a moment, just try and have a look at the fight recap. Warlock did almost the most damage in that entire fight, just through the Fatal Bonds. He was really just enabling the Bristleback, of course, link him up and smack him down, and that's exactly what Yoe's going for. I think now, with the fact that that fight went so well for them, with them being able to secure a tower, get a kill on Yoe and a bunch of assists, he might forego that BKB and just rush for that Aghanim Scepter, and I honestly wouldn't hate that.
What's your take on a Midas for Warlock?
Is that what he's going?
Could.
I was about to say.
I mean, he's got 1,200 gold in his pocket. He could build into a Midas, just 500 gold short. Oh, he's going for shard.
I feel like what he's got. Yeah, the shard is just infinitely better in my eyes, right? It's going to provide you that ability to just stand and fight against the team. Of course, the Fatal Bonds, it just amps up the AoE damage that you've got on your lineup.
Targeting Bok. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. Just target the Viper. They toss in the Pangos rolling in for the stun. They do have the coil connected onto the Enchantress, but it is an Enchantress. He will fall. Ken is in a bit of trouble. Does get the time lapse out of time, but the stolen Boundless Strike will keep the Bristleback busy. So Tiny's able to get out. I don't think they would have had the damage anyway. So they lose the edge for it. They did force out at least one of the ultis, but TNC still Wukong's up. Looks like they're going to have the Warlock Golem up in 50 seconds as well. Sadly, no objective to push.
No objective to push, but I was really thinking that maybe they might consider doing Roshan, right? You don't have the Rolling Thunder, you don't have the Time Lapse as well on the Weaver, so he really doesn't want to be fighting in that enclosed area. Plus, you've taken out the Enchantress. So, with especially the vision that they've got up, look at it all. It's like a huge triangle around this mid-tower, plus also providing a lot of that Roshan and smoke protection. So, maybe a little bit of an opportunity gone begging for them.
I wish we would still be able to draw on the minimap. That would be an Illuminati right there. The triangle of vision right there in the middle area of the map.
Philippines. They just disengaged immediately after the Enchantress went down. He had these 11 stacks of the one charge that, at the time of the gank, but yeah, he just wasn't able to pop them somehow. Got the Nature's Attendance off, but not the subsequent heal.
Enchantress is getting softer as long as this game does progress forward and forward, especially with this Bristleback growing in power. Now opting to just rush the Aghanims right away. He's got the money for it. He's bought it. Doesn't need the BKB right away, but they will take down Carlo meanwhile this is happening. They're just ill-aware. Actually, they're not ill-aware. They do have a vision ward basically placed inside the triangle, showing that this Bristleback Aghanims is about to be finished.
He's got it again. The Dark Troll Summoner making his way up towards the top side.
Bok is here, though.
They do it. They've got the Glyph again, too. But I don't think they want to pop this.
It's taking them some time. It's already 200 damage dealt to this tower by the time they die to the 2-point Nether Toxin. And in the bot lane, targeting MIPH. There's a TP coming in from Chris. Rubik doesn't quite get the Boundless Strike off on time, and he's unable to snipe the Warlock, so he's going to die instead. Would have been lacking the damage for it. Warlock might have just survived with a sliver of HP, but that's going to be a pick-off for TNC. And what happens next? Ken's still keeping that top lane in. Teehee is roaming freely in the enemy jungle.
Gotcha.
What happens next, Danog?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Sure.
I think this game is incredibly messy. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities just being missed completely. Like, you hit your timings. They went for a smoke previously on the Tiny, like 5 or so minutes, 6, 7 minutes ago, when he was 50 gold away from the Blink Dagger. They ended up getting a kill from it, but it could have resulted in a lot worse. You haven't made use of the Diffusal Blade timing. You haven't taken Roshan when you've got the potential to. You haven't committed more to try and take out this tier 2 top to open up Roche for Made in Philippines when they use the Glyph. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that, in my eyes, could certainly change. And a lot of it is on some of the good positioning coming through. But, yeah, I feel like there's a lot being left on the cutting room floor, I guess, is the way that I'm going to say it, right? Like, it feels like there are so many opportunities. Like, again, Rapido has the Blink Dagger. You got to make sure you make a use out of it. He's got level 2 Rolling Thunder. You got to take out a hero. Like, you've got a mid-Tiny who has Blink Dagger. Use it.
Somehow feels like both teams are maybe playing a bit too cautious. Now they're going for the aggression as they see the Tiny, but obviously when you see a big priority target, you go for it. When you see a small priority target, you kind of wait a little bit too long, but now they stack on top of him and go for it, and here we go. This is the kind of stuff you want to see. This is what makes Danog happy. You take a pick off, you go for Roshan, look for the next objective, look for a team fight, take another tower, win the game. This is the stuff that he wants to see, and Rapido will be on point here, at least getting some vision out, but they cannot contest this Roshan. No way, should be able to take this one. Rapido forcing out the Rolling Thunder as well, a defensive one. He's got a shield crash in 6 seconds. Is he going to take the big roll into the pit? No, it's just going to roll past. Just driving by.
At least they're not sitting around doing nothing on Made in Philippines while this is all happening, right? They were pushing top. They were forcing a Glyph to be used. But, you know, they didn't get it.
Yes, he can. The Weaver's a really good pick if they can get this one. There's the initial stun. No way. Got the dust connected as well. They're going to try to get the poke, and here's the time-lapse into the rod from Bok, and the Golem used as well by MIPH. And Weaver is taking down and melting to a point where he doesn't even have legs anymore. Teehee tries to TP out, but 1, 2, 3. Oh, so close. Yowie almost gets this kill. TNC's in a roll.
They are, for sure. Like, that is the first, like, really solid play that I've seen come out from both teams throughout this entire game, right? I feel like TNC, they got out of the laning stage in a much better position than they would have expected.
Well,
you
were saying?
They were able to adjust their builds as well. Like, it's still fine, right? Like, look at what it's doing. It means that Yowie is able to continue pushing up on this top side. Did someone just TP and cancel it? Maybe. I'm not sure, but it's drawn a lot of people up towards this top side. And what I was saying before, the other thing that I do like about what TNC have done is that they haven't gone this cookie cutter. I mentioned in the draft that Bok playing his Viper, it's all around being that turret, being that Dragonlance builder that just stands there and right-clicks. But he realizes that, you know, up against this Weaver, the Pango, they don't have the greatest amount of lockdown right now. So we went for the Atos instead. I really like it. You know, it just provides them that extra little bit of lockdown. It's part of what enabled them to get that kill onto Ken previously, and honestly, the stats aren't that bad either. Even all of that intelligence just means more poison attack spams.
And it also just feels like this core item for a Viper in many cases because if you want to look for singular plays, you will always have enemies will always run away from you. As you can see here, that's actually a pretty good usage of the Glimmer Cape because it dodges the rod completely.
Top again, just being pushed in. It feels like they're spending a lot of time up here in Made in Philippines with not too much success. Like, this has to result in a tier 2 tower being secured. Like, you need to have Made in Philippines heroes being out on the map in a risky situation, baiting TNC to try and make a move onto them, so that then you can secure something, right? Dota, to me, is all about making the enemy team make decisions that they don't want to. And so if you're able to... Yeah, look at that. Like, it just gets immediately cleared out by Krish.
Yep.
They still get the tower, but maybe they could have got something else at the same time.
This is Lucify about to drop. Tiny just clears out the creep wave quickly before Yowei is able to get here in time. They won't be able to get an instant push towards that tier 2 tower in the bot lane, missing that one creep wave. Does come at the cost of the Rubik. If it was just the Rubik dying and nobody clearing out the wave, that would have hurt them a lot because the wave would now be at the tier 2 tower and they would be able to take it right away. So it does buy them some time. We talked with Harry. I think yesterday our entire theme was good deaths. When you die on the other side of the map as a support, or push out the waves, or have your team make a play while you're giving a support away. And those are the good types of deaths that you can give.
Yeah, that's why I really like TT's early game, right? That level 5, 12-minute Enchantress nearly taking out a tier 2 tower on his own. He was forcing unideal movements out of TNC, but, you know, for the 10 minutes after that, not too much happened. And now look what's happened. They got a pick-off because you weren't able to secure map control. Tiny died. They got Roche. Now Bristleback still has a minute left on the Aegis and the BKB. So he's not quite so worried about things like the Avatos cover, the Diffusal Blade, these sorts of things anymore.
Yep. That Diffusal does do a decent amount of damage too. I mean, Lucify will drop his Glimmer, and JG comes in as well. But was that a bit of a mistake, or is he going to get some backup because Ken is coming in from the back? The BKB will be popped as well. Wukongs will be dropped, but instantly removed as the Monkey King dies. Viper about to fall as well. Ken looking for another kill. That's going to be TNC losing to Yowei. He's got 50 seconds remaining on that Aegis. Even if they kill him once, they're going to have to deal with him twice. Rapido goes in for the Diffusal. Here comes the Golem as well, connecting onto 2. They're going to be focused on the backline, taking down a 3rd, and it's down to 2 heroes plus the Golem. What can Chris and Yowei do? JG going for the TP away, not going to work out for him, and Yowei picks up a double for himself. Both the Pango and the Tiny falls, and TNC still recovers and reclaims some kills for themselves.
God damn. That was a hit for 560 damage from that Bristleback with against a Tiny, you know? Not the greatest base armor, but of course, he's got the Grove, so he had the potential to be able to react to that, even ending up popping that first BKB charge and not getting amazing use out of it. Yeah, you got a couple of kills, but I don't know. It feels to me like this Bristleback's getting a little bit too far out of control. Look at the net worth difference.
Oh, the spot Ken. Beautiful catch here from Carlo and Chris, and there's the silence as well. That's a huge pick-off for them. Very good play from Carlo, suspecting the Weaver is already down in the lane, pops down the sentries and the obs into the lane, into the Boundless Strike, silence, and nuke him down.
This is what I was talking about with Carlo, right? Oh.
Yeah.
Takes away the Primal Spring. It just provides more stuff that's going to be able to kill these more tricky heroes to be able to counter out, right? Like the Weaver, the Pangolier. Orchid, fantastic, right? It's not one of these things that's just a root, right? If you rooted the Pango, he could eventually just, well, he has the roll-up, so he could be able to get out of that. Same sort of thing with the Weaver, time-lapse. Not a silence.
Interesting moves here, splitting on 2 separate 1v1s here. And here comes Balk, he brings the party. No longer an honest battle. We'll take down Lucify. JG, Blink still on cooldown for 2 seconds, but they won't be able to cancel it. Carlo just needs to scout out where he's going. Still keeps vision on the Tiny. Oh, the catapult shows him, though. And he BKBs out. There's a good TP hiding in the sidelines as the Monkey King wasn't able to find him. TNC.
It's looking rougher and rougher for Made in Philippines now, right? Like, they don't have any tier 2 towers to play around except this top side. You can see it's the latest thing that's been pinged out as well. Just saying, look, we have to try
and a Weaver dead. Oh, almost. Almost dead. I'll say that.
Oh.
It's a BKB now as well to save himself, and the Monkey King is the one to die instead. And again, a Wukong's for nothing.
I guess you're mortal then.
He wanted to apply some kind of threat factor there, putting down the Wukongs, but he just dies with it.
Did force the BKB out of the Weaver though, right? So it's not the worst.
It's not the worst.
Probably didn't need to use the BKB, but, you know, we have the benefit of seeing both teams' vision.
We are the backseaters. Teehee. Chased up here. Again, a lot of resources for the Enchantress, but she is no longer the immortal Bambi as we know she was. Easy piece for Yowie to pick up. Abyssal Blade almost ready.
On Yowie?
Yeah. Bristleback is 10 gold short from it, so Abyssal Axe, Vanguard, BKB. Well, the Vanguard and the Basher turning into the Abyssal Blade. What does he go for next? Like, is there any big item the Bristleback can go after this? I've seen Daedalus being picked up a couple times.
Wouldn't hate an AC, just to make the sieging a little bit better. Make sure that your Puck and Warlock are surviving the initial gank attempts. Just that extra 5 armor can be the difference in being burst down and not. Also helps with the tower push a little bit too.
Yeah, there's the... When does the Viper actually get his Viper strike to hit buildings? Or does it already hit buildings? I've been lost in track with Viper.
The strike or the poison attack?
Just the basic poison attack, yeah.
You need the shard.
You need the shard. Oh yeah, it's on the shard now. Yeah, I was looking at the talent. Where is it? But it's not there. But the Bristleback's gonna get connected on. BKB will be used. Golem to drop down and keep the Tiny busy. And they got the Abyssal on the Pangolier. Rupido dropping low. He's going down to 500 HP. They got the coil now connecting onto the Tiny, but Made in Philippines ain't losing any heroes yet. Still some heals flowing in. Stolen Golem turns around and takes the Warlock with him. Luzify able to snap this one in half, and Yowie and the rest are disengaging from the fight. So Made in Philippines, they withstand all the ultis basically thrown in their general direction, and the heals keep them up, and they get a kill for it. Roche is up in 10.
She's up in 10. That's a pretty big timing. Again, they popped a lot on TNC's side to make sure that happened. And really, it was only the Rolling Thunder on the Pangolier, who's closing in on a Yule Scepter, I believe. So that's going to provide him a little bit more safety, security against big focus down. The silences that are coming through from both the Puck as well as the Monkey King. Clear off the poison attacks as well. So, yeah, Rapido is going to have a big influence in these next coming few fights.
Killing the Puck is also going to be a bit of an issue. Beholder of the Gem going to be building into an Aeon Disc. Very liked item on a lot of Puck players to go for the Aeon Disc, especially if you know that they have a Burster on their side. Basically, and I don't say it nullifies the Tiny, but it basically makes, if you initiate onto the Puck as a Tiny, you're wasting spells in a way.
There we go.
In a way.
Big team fight. They're doing Roche. Both teams know about it.
Takes this one. Made in Philippines, they're in here with full strength. Monkey King isn't here yet. He is pushing in the top wave, so he's forcing Made in Philippines. Keep them on their toes. The bot wave is also right in front of their base. There's a catapult there.
Full wrap around.
Get here, but oh, he walks into a trap. He thought he was smart, but he got outsmarted this time. Tiny down to 400, and this DD Puck is just hammering down on this Tiny, and AG is down. The Abyssal as well onto the Weaver. Doesn't connect onto Rapido, so the Rolling Thunder is rampant. Will take down Carlo from his tree, but now the chance, the opportunity has arisen. The Weaver is down, and Made in Philippines will lose 2 of their big cores in this, and TNC with this will secure Roshan and the Aegis and the Shard for themselves.
This little win, I mean, I don't think you need more to be able to buff up this Bristleback, but he'll be the one taking that Aghanim Shard, being able to get the hairball for himself, unless they want to open up again to their tower pushing potential. And it actually is the Viper that ends up taking the Aghanim Shard, so they really feel like their time is now. They've got the BKB about to come out on Viper. You've got that big net worth advantage on the Bristleback. Could 5,000 net worth ahead of anyone else, and he is going into that AC as well.
Pretty big Bristleback to deal with this game, and it just feels like they're kind of running out of tools on the side of Made in Philippines to deal with all these heroes. They never actually get to focus on these supports. The last time they fought in the top tier 2 when they were able to sustain all the damage, they killed the Warlock because the Warlock was in the front line. That's not gonna happen again.
certainly not the situation you want to be in. What has Talon? Ah, damn it. I thought Warlock might have gone the level 15 Talon for the upheaval attack speed, just to be able to completely burst down these towers. But again, it's a Warlock, right? You've got the shard, so you want to make sure that you can use that Shadow Word as much as possible.
Yeah, and going for the Wraith Pact as well, since he seems to be the optimal carrier for it in the team. Feels like this Wraith Pact is it's not the beginning of the end, at least, but it's another annoying tool that Made in Philippines have to worry about, but their damage getting mitigated.
They've got the Golem for about another 5 seconds on Losify, so I wonder if he just drops it to be able to help the push.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe he wants it just in case he gets a steal of it in the next fight to actually be able to use it and not have it on cooldown.
Potentially, but they're jumping in the bot line already. Ken and JG. Tiny down for 70 seconds. That's a big timer for TNC.
For sure. Did you see that with Krish as well? I know you mentioned the Aeon Disc previously as something that Pucks like to get. Another thing is the Aether Lens, sorry, not the Aether Lens, the Psychic Headband. He used it there to push the Tiny outside of his coil, making sure he got the snap and securing the fact that they were going to burst him down at the end.
That is pretty smart. I think we've seen a lot of these Tiny Puck combos where you're supposed to use the toss to break the coil. But in this case, it feels like, yeah, I'll just do it all by myself. Like, get yourself a Hurricane Pike, or in this case, a neutral item that's going to help you do it. So that also works. Tiny's still gone for 30 seconds. TNC right in front of Made in Philippines base. They can just finish off this tier 3 tower. Gets denied by Teehee. Throwing some impetus spears. A good amount of poke, but still having some difficulties with this Bristleback. LA-Rack's already down with the creeps inside the mid lane. Joey is just out of hands. This Bristleback is just too much of a threat to deal with currently. And still in Aegis for another 2 minutes as well. Tier 3 tower down a half HP.
350 gold away from the AC as well. So it just feels like it would take a miracle for TNC to lose this one. Or, you know, a classic dive a little bit too deep, maybe be able to get some toss back into some tier 4 towers, or even better, the Fountain, of course.
Good old Fountain farming.
Yeah. He's been able to pick up. I swear, this is something I complain about with Ares all the time. It feels like every single game that there's a Tiny, Titan Sliver has to drop. He doesn't have it equipped right now, but it's happened again. And I'm like, how has this always happened? It's by far the best hero to be able to have it on.
It is a pretty good neutral item to have, and I agree. Like, a lot of people just kind of ignore picking it up, but I guess he favors the Quicksilver Amulet more. They get the jump of the Viper, but they're interrupted, and the Golem connecting onto 3 as well. Does Losify get it? No, he's already down and dead. Gets nothing out of this one. Rapido is in trouble as he's being focused on by 3 heroes, thrown into the air as well, as he's got the Yules, able to blink to the high ground, but Yoe is already on the chase here inside the base for the roll-up. Will keep him safe from the Illusory Orb. And now they're back to the push once again. TNC, they forced out the buyback out of the Rubik. And they're trying to deal with this Bristleback. They are trying. They're trying so hard. They got so far. Or know how the rest of the song goes. There we go. The jump comes in. They got the toss, at least, behind the tier 4 tower. The Aegis is gone. Got a decent amount of poke onto the Enchantress. And the Bristleback is back into action. Got the early poke coming out as well. Still got 3,000 HP and a BKB. But all that did basically was just getting themselves the racks down to the mid lane. And now the Tiny will fall, controlled from 100 to 0. Pango coming in with a buyback as TNC looking for the mega creeps.
They're really playing really well around this Fatal Bond, right? Just there, the Pangolier ends up dying as a result of it being linked. And good roll coming through. They're able to get this kill to be enormous.
Pretty decent hold here. Bristleback is down. Carlo with the back line. Doesn't get much done here. Trying to keep him busy, but he also runs out of firepower. So they buy some time. So they got 2 kills for it. 2 lanes already down. Almost the 3rd lane completely. How much time does this buy for Mid in Philippines?
Not much. How long is Bristle dead for? Yeah, it buys them about 80 seconds to be able to come back into this one. Because the lanes are just going to be passively pushing in. Enchantress is good at pushing when it's in like an even scenario, when you don't have to worry about super creeps coming back your way. But not the greatest at being able to shove lanes out. Same sort of thing with the Rubik as well, unless he's got an amazing spell stolen. Now the Toxin isn't too bad, to be honest, but yeah, it just feels like by the time that they've shoved the lanes out, TNC are just going to be in a position to TP back into the outpost, take another team fight, win another one, and then just secure the megas.
There's just way too many items that Made in Philippines would need, like, inside a minute, and that's just not going to happen. There's no Greatest Good button available in the game. Something that they would desperately need, but if they're somehow able to get a chain feed from TNC, I think that's the only possible scenario where they're able to get back, but at least they're getting these tier 4 neutrals, which just became available, already 3 of them being picked up.
Nice, nice. Any good ones, though? That's the big question. You can get the items, but...
What do you do with the Timeless Relic with this draft?
Maybe if Rubik stole it and then stole the coil.
Yeah, it's like... I think I did some comparison with the old Arcane Supremacy, or I'm not sure if was it that old, or is it the current one still as effective with the spell amp. If you Doom is like 16 or 15 seconds or something like that. If Rubik dooms somebody, it's 22 seconds. So you get 6 seconds of extra control if the Rubik casts, and that's a big extra. 6 seconds is an eternity in a team fight.
Now, T, I know you were talking about the Illuminati before, and TNC, they've got another Illuminati Observer Ward triangle set up. This is basically the only place that Made in Philippines could be that isn't underneath vision, and it's right where their own vision is. So they're just clumping up as 5. It could be one of the greatest chaotic offerings calls that we've ever seen.
And this pop, be number 1. Tito, gonna be right on top of the Pango. On top of the puck, sorry, and they will take down Chris. They'll be jumping the back line. They want the Rubik out of the way, and that will be 1 for 1. Let's see how many more. JG with a blink to the safety of the low ground. Ken fighting with Bach on the sideline with the BKBs popped on both of these cores. And now looking for another Carlo. Might be targeted by JG. He wants this kill, but at the same time, he's being revealed, and he might lose his life for this one. And he will. Gem recovered.
Gem recovered, and the thing is, Made in Philippines, they couldn't continue to commit as a team as a result of their racks being taken previously. Tier 4s were getting smacked. They're already taken an okay amount of damage, so yeah, they just had to back up together as a team. And, well, I was talking about that one little safe haven that they had around the Observer Ward with that gem, and of course, a Monkey King just being able to jump around. It's removed away, so right now, they are playing blind on Made in Philippines.
What they can do here. It does feel like TNC is just going to close out this game. Chuck out the news around the necks of Made in Philippines. They do have the control of the Bristle back at least. A decent amount of stuns flying in with Ken helping him out, and Bristle is actually down. But still, the Viper is the one to take down these buildings if they're able to finish off it in time. They've got the Silence landing onto the Pangolier here. Bach is just finishing off the melee racks. And there's the Glyph coming in, though. That will take away all the poison attack stacks. So
he was out of mana as well. Like, he could have kept attacking it, just applying the stacks but not actually doing the damage. But I think it was Rapido specifically looking to focus onto him and make sure he ran out of mana so that they wouldn't continue to stack through the Glyph.
So another health defense, 90 seconds plus another 100 seconds. So that is 3 minutes of extra gameplay time given in total with these base defenses here from Made in Philippines. But the next one, if it happens soon, with these melee racks being so low, going to be a difficult part for Made in Philippines to bounce back if those mega creeps start approaching their base. But at least the Weaver's doing some damage on the positive side. But I don't think you should get your hopes up too high, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good
level 25 on the Weaver, and, well, Krish knows what's going on. I don't know if you're really in a position to be able to counter this out, though. They're just going to use the Rolling Thunder to secure it, make it use it the toss onto the Pango there.
Yeah.
And, oh, okay, I really don't hate this. The
Rubik
the Scepter 2. Okay. I wouldn't have hated to see it on Rapido. I guess he hasn't got the 2.5-second shield crash ball in Talent. If he had, then it would have been fantastic. But
I think they just want to get more out of this Rubik. So if he's able to steal more spells, lower cooldown, might come in handy here. There's a lot of good spells he could use, especially the control ones. The Boundless Strike is one really good spell to kick things off. Then you have the Golem, which is another one, enabling more time for this Weaver to attack. So I think if this Rubik plays like an absolute godlike Division 1 world legend, Lucify can win this game for the team.
He can. Honestly, even like Fatal Bond's Chaotic Offering would be huge. Fatal Bond's Dreamcoil would be huge. Fatal Bond's Nether Toxin could be huge because it provides that break against the Bristleback that you'll need to be able to take him out faster. They're still a little bit short on the Silver Edge on the Tiny, but you can see up top, that's where JG's looking to focus. He really wants to make sure he's got that next big item, and nope, there it is. He's finished it up, TP's into the trees. They'll have it for this next fight, and they won't know about it as well on TNC, so this might be the surprise factor that they needed.
5 on 5 smokes. Going for the wraparound. Ken wants to show himself on mid. Has to be very quick with his fingers here, and he's able to dodge 2 of the stuns at least. You're looking to load up the roll. Rapido. They're all stacked up. 1, 2, 3 stun. Beautiful landing there for the Pango. The Golem's going to be landing as well, and they look to steal it. Yes, they have the Chaotic Golem. They've got to pop it down, and it will take down Yowie. Bristleback's actually down. Tiny dropping very low with the backline as well. They need to get it back to safety, but he's going to melt, and he's not going to be able to come back into the game. But Bok is very low. Rapido on the sideline as well. The Viper's going to be falling. Bristleback is buying back into the game, but the Viper's not going to be able to come back into this fight. At least Ken. He's still being chased by Chris. Chris getting some good pokes in here. The Boundless Strike does connect as well. The silence is there. Weaver's going to need some backup, but does he have the help of his teammates anymore? And here comes Yowie. He will finish off the Weaver, and he's gone for 100 seconds. It was just false sense of security given for MIPH, as they are losing their heroes, and by the looks of it, their base as well. The Bristleback will finish off the melee racks. The Ranger falling, Enchantress is dropping. It's Carlo and Chris. They keep the chase up on the Enchantress. Teehee slowly but surely chipped down, and there's the GG.
Yeah, there's the GG indeed. I think it was just one dive too many by TNC. They went forward previously, and they said, you know what, let's just secure the Mega Creeps. Let's secure the win for ourselves. And yeah, certainly not the way I thought the laning stage was expecting to go, but TNC really have to commend their itemization. They adapted for the game that they were in, right? You didn't need to go an Atos a lot of the time on the Viper. This time was a fantastic choice. You didn't need to go an Orchid on a Monkey King a lot of the time. Carlo didn't have boots at the end of the game. He realized how much more important it was to be able to lock down some of these more slippery heroes. And then, of course, Yowie, with just one team fight going really well for them, instead of going into the BKB to withstand the onslaught that they were facing in the super early game, he adapts. He says, okay, I've got a good amount of stacks to be able to farm. I'll be able to get a good timing on my Aghanim Scepter. Just rushes that instead. Goes into the Abyssal Blade next, again, for more of that lockdown. The amount of times we saw him even cast it onto a Pango while in the Rolling Thunder Ball and be able to take him down. I just really have to commend that from TNC. But for me, it's one that got away from Made in Philippines. I really think they had all of the ingredients that they needed to be able to take this game one.
Yeah, I really liked Chris's puck game in general. He had 40,000 hero damage, the most in the entire game, even way more than the Bristleback did in this game. So he's been doing a lot of heavy lifting on this puck. When you see a good puck game, it looks too good, but then you think, it's just a regular performance. But when you see a bad puck, you notice that. So I just want to commend Chris for playing a really, really good puck game here, helping out TNC. And like you said, Meta Philippines, they had all the ingredients to go for the victory here, or at least make this game a really tight one. Because the laning stage was tight, and then after that, it felt like couple missed opportunities, a couple mistakes here and there, not capitalizing too much around the Enchantress, already doing a lot of work. Teehee did a lot of work in that post-laning stage, pushing out those towers, doing damage to the tier 2 tower all by himself. But what was the rest of the team doing? That's something that Made in Philippines has to take a look at in the mirror.
Can you, I'm not sure if you've got the camera on us or the post-game screen. If possible, right, have a look at post-game, and just have a look at the Made in Philippines building damage. Because Enchantress is good at taking towers, but you should not be the only one that's doing damage to these towers, right? You've got a Weaver who has the capability of doing it, right? That's one of the big strengths of the Weaver, is that prior to having all of these silencers and lockdown and that sort of thing, you shouldn't be able to die super early on. So I'm a little surprised that Ken didn't do any, and more importantly, JG, as a Tiny, 0 building damage. I mean, a big part of that is that not too many team fights went Made in Philippines' way, but it really felt like that was on the back of them not grouping up and using their timings.
Yeah.
You know, they Blink Dagger on the Tiny happened once, I think. Diffusal Blade, Blink Dagger on Rapido. Where was the gank attempt? Where was the conversion into a tower push? And that's really why I'm a little disappointed in Made in Philippines Game 1 performance, but we've seen that sometimes they could start out a little rusty, so we'll see if they can bring it back for Game 2.
Well, you heard the man. We're going to take a tiny break, and after the commercials, we shall return with game number 2, so don't disappear anywhere. It's a battle for staying in Division 2.